What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. And whichever platforms you're listening to this on, I want to let you know I really do appreciate you. And if you are a subscriber, thank you for being subscribed. But if you're not subscribed yet, please do go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening to this on YouTube while you're at it, hit that like button because it's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. We just want to go ahead and brighten up the place. So let's get into this conversation. All right. Recently, Steve Harvey, he did an interview with Shannon Sharpe on his podcast that he calls Clubshayshay. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about a couple of things. I didn't watch the entire interview. My husband watches ESPN a lot, and Shannon Sharpe, his voice, everybody has their thing, I guess. But sometimes I'm like, how do you listen to him? Because his voice, it's very irritating. It's like it sounds like it's in the back of his throat. And when he speaks, it just really, to me, just giving my honest opinion, it just sounds like he's choking. And with the country Bama voice, it just, all of it, I can't not focus on it, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to make fun of him. I'm just saying it's one of those voices where it really makes him hard to listen to. Like Carlos King, for me, it's just hard to listen to him. It's not trying to make fun of it. It's just sometimes I can't hear anything really that they're saying because of how the voice sounds. So it's just a bit irritating. Anyway, I saw these clips, listened to them, and there's a couple of things that I wanted to discuss because when it comes to Steve Harvey, we know he has a reputation when it comes to marriage. Now, he said some things in his interview that I actually agree with. He may not be one of my most favorite people, and I actually will admit the Steve Harvey show, the sitcom, to this day, I watch it a lot on Prime. It's very funny. I do believe that Cedric the Entertainer really made that show, and Terry J. Vaughn, who played Levita, just funny, ghetto, ratchet. It was funny, and it's still funny to this day. Steve Harvey, he came across, even on the sitcom, even though he was acting, as very arrogant, thinking highly of himself, wearing the big baggy suits, and just thinking he was so attractive. And I don't see anything attractive about Steve Harvey. That's just my personal opinion, being beautifully honest. But he said some things in this interview that I just question. Because I'm sorry, I don't care when it comes to the success that he has garnered over the years. At the point that he's at now, maybe. But back then, he claims that he went through a divorce where it got him to the point where he was left where he only had $1,700 in his bank account. But it just, to me, I'm just saying my personal opinion, it just doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really add up. So I'm going to play this clip. I'm going to hopefully get this playing, and let's get into it.
Everything twice. Yeah. In 2005, you had $1,700 left. This was after Kings of Comedy. Yeah. You got $1,700 after you made, like $30 million on that tour.
No, we made more than that.
What the hell happened to the money?
Yeah. It's called a divorce. I got jumped on, man, but it was even before the divorce. Because, not going to say who did it, but they got in cahoots with my financial planner. And I was writing checks to the government for 7 years. Writing tax checks, signing the tax checks, giving them to turn in. They was keeping them, taking the money out the account like I was paying taxes and keeping it for themselves. When my accountant passed, a lady went in the office and found a box on the floor, and I had 7 years of unpaid taxes. And I'm thinking I'm even. And then my lawyer said to me, you ain't paid taxes in 7 years.
Oh, so you haven't paid in 7 years plus the interest.
Then I had saved some millions, but before I split the assets, she took all of that out the bank, moved it. The divorce was over.
Right.
It was just, let's split the assets. But you took all the assets.
Right.
And I was stuck with this tax bill. So I had to pay 7 years of back taxes with interest and get current. I was in a world of trouble, man. When I looked up, I had $1,700.
All right. You heard that. To me, that doesn't make sense. It just really sounds like he is trying to push the blame on somebody else when it comes to the tax situation. Listen, when it comes to what he said about his ex-wife, that he actually was very unfaithful to, that has been put out there on several occasions where the current wife that he's with, Marjorie Harvey, he was actually cheating on his now ex-wife with her. And similar to Dwayne Wade, with him being with Gabrielle Union, he was cheating allegedly on his ex-wife with Gabrielle Union, and he got Siobhan Funches shut down with a gag order and took custody of the kids. Steve Harvey is similar in that way. Allegedly, he did the same thing with getting a gag order on Mary Harvey because she wanted to speak her mind. She wanted to speak how she was treated, and she really got shut down. And the children that she had with him, allegedly, custody of those children was taken by him as well. So again, having the money, you have the power. So I don't know if what he's saying about Mary Harvey, his ex-wife, is true, where he's saying, well, the divorce was done, and before he could split the assets, she took all of the money out of the account and left him with $1,700. I don't know about that. I really don't, because to me, based on the actions that he had taken with her, I see him as being the type that would retaliate against her if she did that. So I don't believe he just said, oh, well, she took all my money. I know we were supposed to split the assets, but she took the money, so there's just nothing I can do about it. I guess I just got to move on, try to get a bunch of jobs, and just make that money back. And I don't believe that. So I'm just saying I don't believe that. But what I will say when it comes to the tax situation that he's claiming, listen, guys, I'm definitely not on Steve Harvey's level when it comes to being an entrepreneur, but I am a business owner. I've been a business owner for a little over 15 years now. I know what it's like to deal with the IRS, because when you're a business owner, especially what they call a small business owner like I am, they come for us first before they even come for the big dogs, shall we say. So they don't take long to turn around to tell you that you owe money. And 7 years worth of taxes that were not completed, I don't believe that. I believe that he is pushing the blame on someone else, because listen, he says he wrote checks to the IRS, gave them to someone else to send to the IRS to pay, but you didn't have access to your bank account to see that the checks were being cashed. Listen, my accountant does my taxes. I know what I owe. I either pay it myself via a check, which we don't really do that anymore. It's usually drafted out of the account. But you look at your bank account and you see what's coming out. So I can see when those items have cleared. So you mean to tell me you were too busy and too wealthy to pay attention to your own bank account to see that these items were not clearing, and you didn't check that? I can understand if things were not being filed in terms of an actual tax return not being filed, but to claim that they were actually completed and you knew what you owed and you wrote the checks and you gave them to someone else to mail and you just assumed that they were paid and you never looked at your bank account to see that those items were paid, and then just all of a sudden your accountant dies and someone just happens to go into the office to see these piles of paperwork piled up to see that 7 years worth of taxes had not been paid. To me, I'm sorry, I don't believe that. And at the point where he was at, where he said that he was doing the Kings of Comedy tour, because we're not talking just back in the day when he was hosting Showtime at the Apollo or even doing the hostings at some comedy clubs across town or across the country maybe. We're talking at the point where he was the host of the Kings of Comedy tour. That was a lot of, well, he says a lot of money. I don't know how much money he made. But to say that you were dealing with some small town rookie accountant where you were the only client, because this accountant didn't have any other clients, they didn't have any other people that they were working with, and this person just conveniently went into the accountant's office and found your stuff and saw that nothing had been done. That to me just doesn't make sense. You all let me know how you feel about that and what you think in the comment section. But just me hearing that, and just based on my experience being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, dealing with the IRS and the state departments of revenue and the departments of employment, because I have employees as well, and dealing with tax situations, I know, I get it. I've dealt with those situations as well, where they say that, something wasn't either filed correctly or filed in time, and you owe penalties plus interest, because they are all about money. Any way they can find to try to nickel and dime you, they will do that for sure. But to say that you actually had these things filed and you wrote the checks, but they were never sent, and these people took the money out of your... How did they get access to your bank account? My accountants don't have access to my bank accounts. And I'm at the level that I'm at. Who do you trust at the level that you're at to have your accountant or financial planners or financial advisors to be able to take money out of your bank account? That, to me, I'm sorry, I don't believe that. I'm not saying it's not true, but I'm saying it just doesn't sound logistical. It doesn't make sense to me. But you guys can let me know how you feel about that in the comment section below, because I really, when I listened to it a few times, and I said, did he really say what I think he said? And it just doesn't make sense. And so to me, it just looks like he does what he does. He blames other people for what, for what is going on, instead of maybe just saying, you didn't do what you were supposed to do, and it got you to the point where you owed all of these years of back taxes. And even if you owe years of back taxes, they will work out a payment plan with you. I don't care how much or how little it is. They will work a payment plan out with you. So I just don't understand that. It didn't make sense to me, but you all can let me know how you feel about that in the comment section. So there's something else that I wanted to play, and it's another part of the interview where they're talking about marriage. And so this part, to be honest with you, it's more about Shannon Sharpe than it is about Steve Harvey. So I'm going to play this clip, and then I'm going to continue with my conversation.
It's like there's a dude named Nuri Muhammad. Mm-hmm. I wish I had my phone, man. You could hear what this dude said about relationships. It's the coldest thing. He said, other than your relationship with God, who you choose to spend the rest of your life with is the single most important decision you will ever make. Because your other half will either your other half will be your better half or make you half of what you could be. Wow. She will either inspire you to greatness or reduce you to mediocrity. And then he went on to talk about, he quoted Minister Louis Farrakhan, and then at the end of it, he said, so choose wisely. And that was the first time, man, that I'd ever chose wisely. And it was the best thing, because a woman like an elevator button, man, they can take you up or down. If you get the right one, you got something. You get the wrong one, but it's like a man to a woman. If you get the right man, you can go somewhere. Right. You get the wrong man, you off. Like I heard you say one time, well, I was laughing so hard. You said you paid for a divorce. Yeah. I said, this dude right here was committed.
But see, I want people to think, she was getting a divorce already. I didn't break the home up.
I don't
because you know how people take it and run with it.
Yeah.
She was getting a divorce.
And he owed the money.
Right.
What's wrong with that?
Right.
I'm trying to invest in my future.
Right.
See, these dudes kill me. That's what's wrong with this generation today. These young boys today, what do she bring to the table? The hell you mean, man? What do your ass bring to the table? You got a woman that can come to the table that can make another you. What else she need to slide up to the table with? What about your job? What happened to men who were supposed to be responsible? Do you know that it's our job to take care of a woman and some children, to have a family? That's our damn job.
But what happens to when the woman tell you, I don't need a man, Steve?
Well, they need to work. Okay, if you don't, how that's working? You know, how that's working? Who don't need no man? Who don't need no man?
I'm independent. I can do for myself.
Yeah, but why do you want to? Yeah, okay, you can drop a transmission. You can sandblast your house. But hell, do you want to?
No.
If somebody could get out there and drop this transmission for you and sandblast your house, why don't you go get your nails done? I'm not trying to reduce a woman to nothing else. Be all you can be. But damn, who don't need a man? That's a lie.
All right, guys, so you heard that. And listen, I don't disagree with what Steve Harvey said there. What I spoke about previously was regarding him blaming his ex-wife and the divorce that he went through for his tax issues and him losing $30 million and being left with only $1,700 in his bank account. I just don't believe that. But what he said there, he didn't lie about that when it comes to marriage. I do agree with what he said, but the reason I wanted to speak about this part was because when Shannon Sharpe interjected, and you guys heard what I said previously about listening to him, you heard, okay? I'm just saying. Anyway, he's being disingenuous like a lot of men who speak like that are. Because here's the fact of the matter, and I'm not going to argue with anyone about it. I'm speaking what I know. I don't give marriage advice. I don't give relationship advice. I will never do that because I feel like everyone has to walk their own walk. If someone came to me and wanted, my opinion about something just based on my experience, I'd be happy to share it. But I just feel that a lot of relationship advice that's out there, people give it for the wrong reasons and they do it for profit. And I don't agree with that. But anyway, unless you're a therapist. But I'm just saying, when Shannon Sharpe said, well, what about a woman who said they don't need a man? I'm independent. Listen, this is the deal when it comes to that. Women who speak that way, they do it for a number of reasons. And a lot of them do it as a reflex. Because if they have been dealing with a man who makes them feel inferior, who makes them feel like you would be nothing without me and I rule over you, you submit to me, all of this other bogus bullcrap that is out there, where there are a lot misogynistic, ego-driven, men who deal with or try to deal with women who want to be ruler over women. This is not, back in the day where women had to be in a place where it's like, they have no choice but to live with someone who is abusive, who treats them like crap, who doesn't take care of them in the household, who are out there making families with other women and just doing whatever they want to do. And then they're coming home, they're angry, they're just living reckless, okay? And they had to stay because they weren't in a place where they could work. They had all of these children. They had no choice but to just stay put and deal with it for the sake of just trying to survive. So they were merely existing and not living. Women don't have to do that anymore. So when women say things like that, I 100%, no lie, I 100% guarantee you that they're doing it in a reflexive way, not just coming to a place of letting a man that wants to take care of them, love them, and protect them, as well as allowing them to be the woman that they desire to be and that they are, to just say, well, I don't need a man, so screw you, leave me alone, I just want to be by myself. That's not true. It's not real. It just is not. And I'm just speaking from my own experience. I am married. I have been married for several years. My husband, I love the fact that I can be my own woman. I am a business owner. He doesn't try to stop my moves and doing what I do. And he also wants to be the supporter of me and the protector of me as well. I want to be able to have my husband to take care of me and be able to know that if I had to, I can take care of myself as well. But no, I don't want to do it all on my own if I don't have to. And that's most women. So I just wanted to speak to that because I feel that when Shannon Sharpe said that, it was just extremely disingenuous because women are not acting in that way just off of the strength of being this this beast of a woman that's like, I am the ruler of the world and I got the power of the P, you know what I mean? And I don't need a man. That's not true. But if a man is going to treat them in a way where they're making them feel like you would be nothing without me and you can't do anything without me, and also I'm not going to let you do anything without me, then that's the response that some men will get because they have gotten to a place where they are able to do that. And we know that, unfortunately, I'm going to say it this way, unfortunately, a lot of the laws and rules that were made in this country, the United States, as well as other countries, where it's extremely male driven, where, you know, you've got countries where women can't even go to school. They can't work. You know, it's made to put women in a place where they are having to be supported by a man, and they cannot be independent. That's all because they want to control. Period. And real men don't have to do that. They don't have to feel like they need to control a woman. They want to be in a relationship with a woman where they are there for each other, not being the control figure over the woman as if she is a child. And how sick is that to think that, you know, a man is in a relationship with a woman that he treats like a child that he has sex with. I mean, let's just be real with that. So I'm not going to go into this much further. I could really speak on this for hours if I wanted to, but I'm just not going to go there. But when I heard him say that and I hear speech like that, it really infuriates me because it's not true. It's not true. God made women, this is my personal belief. You can believe differently, but I'm just saying what I believe. I do believe God made women to be a support to a woman. To be a support to a man and to be a helpmeet, but not to be ruled by a man. Period. And unfortunately, a lot of men, they want to rule women and not love women, not support women. And so the response, the reflex that a lot of women give these days is the reflex of, well, I don't need you. I don't need a man. I'm independent. I don't have to depend on you because I'm not going to live this way, because I don't want to live this way, because it's a terrible way of being and I don't want to just exist. I want to live, and I'm not going to live in an abusive relationship, an abusive marriage, even if it's just emotional abuse. Now, I don't want to say just, because that's bad too. Verbal abuse, and definitely not physical abuse, you know? So I'm glad that women who have been in situations like that have begun standing up and not allowing men to, you know, to rule over them. So I'm just tired of speech like that. And with Shannon Sharpe having such a large platform and a loud voice, unfortunately, that he does, to say things like that, it really needs to be spoken about and it needs to be railed against. I'm not going to go back and forth with anybody and who is what they call that manosphere or that red pill community or whatever, because I know what that's all about. And a lot of that is spiritual. It's spiritual warfare. And again, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. It's really, really deep, and it's sad when I see it, but it's a lot. It really is a lot. But that thought process is just not real. And when you see women out here that are pretty much selling themselves on social media, on Instagram, you know, showing the body, doing all that different type of stuff or whatever, definitely misguided, definitely, you know, probably have been mistreated or whatever, and they feel that that's the only thing that they have to offer because you have men that are buying it. You know, if there was no one buying it, they wouldn't be selling it. I'm not saying it makes it okay for them to sell it, but let's just be real. Men, for the most part, they set the thermostat. And then the women, they respond to what the temperature is. So if it's cold, they're going to cover up and protect themselves. And, you know, if it's comfortable, then they can loosen up and, you know, feel a bit freer. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to talk about that. Shannon Sharpe and people who speak like that and think like that, they're just full of shit. And I'm just tired of that thought being put out there that women just want to be single and independent and whatever. A lot of things that are going on both sides with women and with men, it's in response to hurt. And it's really deep. And there's a lot of spiritual warfare going on where that is involved. But you guys can let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comment section below. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. This is Beth, and I'm just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I just wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to